Hello. So for one of my assessments, I'm going to be using Edpuzzle as a form to track data. And so the reason why I chose to use an Edpuzzle is because of the videos that are readily available on the platform and how you can um, tailor any video and add questions to it that are specific to your learning target. And therefore, you know that the questioning and the assessment is actually, you know, measuring the competency of the learner in regards to what your objective is. And so, in this case, I use a read aloud, and so what's really interesting is I've added some modifications to this video. So, for example, the user will be able to watch the video. They have to watch it completely. They cannot turn it in unless the whole video has played, and so that's a great way to make sure that the user, in this case the parent, is watching the entire video and is going through the entire experience. And so I went through the video as a user would, and one of the reasons why I feel like Edpuzzle is a great tool for assessments is because it tracks data it tracks data for you. And so, for example, I'm able to click on the user and it tells me how much time the user spent on my assessment, how many questions they got correct, how much of the video they watched, and what's even more interesting is how you can leave comments. So, for example, in this question, uh, that asks about how Henry is feeling or what type of question to ask while they're reading, you're able to give them a comment and leave a comment. Even and you can do that for each type of question. For example, in this open-ended question, that's asking the parent to formulate a question that would be appropriate for the end of the book. So just depending on what the parent writes, then you're able to give them a score out of 100, and then even leave them a comment below, either to make a modification to their question or just leave feedback for them that would be helpful. One thing that I also did, and another reason why I like to use Edpuzzle, is because the parent, if they're going through the open ended questions, they're able to leave an audio response instead of typing. That might be helpful for some parents who may not be as capable in writing or expressing their writing. They might be more comfortable uh, turning in a an audio response. And so this is the assessment that I created. So just going from the top, it has some notes on here. So I put in some modeling. For example, on one of the sections of the book, mentioned that this would be a great time to ask this type of question. And so then I provide practice for the parent. So I would have them practice writing their own question at that point of the book, or I would ask them what type of question would be appropriate here. And so I have a combination of multiple choice and open ended questions. And so I think that would give me a really good uh, that would give me really good data on what I'm trying to assess, or the learning objective that I'm trying to assess. Accessibility issues would just be, for parents who do not have an internet connection at home. But Edpuzzle works great on tablets and phones, and so I hope that that wouldn't be such a big issue. Um, and so that might be just the only one that they would be able to encounter. So the way that I'm using this assessment tool in my module is after the parents have watched a video of another parent modeling the questioning strategy for reading comprehension, then they watch this video where they get practice on creating their own questions, that they might ask their student or their child. And so that's one way that I will be using it in my module. There's another way that will be used, but that's more of an assessment towards the end to check an overall way of what they understand. But in this case, I'm using it as an assessment to check their understanding about what how to ask questions.